Okay, so here is our presentation on animal photography. So I decided to do my paper on. Alright, so they were photographed as early as humans. So when photography came to fruition, they started taking pictures of their animals, of course. It's man's best friend. So, because of the slow shutter speed and the fact that it took about 20 minutes to get a daguerreotype photo, it was really difficult to capture children as well as animals. So, if they think that photographing kids is different, imagine an animal that won't even listen to you. It's very difficult for them to stay still. So, it seems that in early portraits, in order for them to be a good portrait, they had to be extremely calm or they had to be well sedated. So this is the first known daguerreotype photograph of a dog, and it seems like the dog even was moving a little bit. You see the blurriness in his face, and it does appear to be pretty sedated. I mean, it's sitting on a table, just kind of hanging out there. But this is the earliest known dog or pet photograph. This next photo, we have dog sitting on a table. This was hand colored. As you can see, they did some coloring on the collar there, and the dog's face is all blurry because the dog was moving. Still, very difficult to get an animal to stay still for this extended period of time. Must have been a very well trained dog. So stereographs. We're skipping ahead a little bit. Frank Hayes. So once zoos started coming around, many photographers they were able to see the wild animals up close, as people and photographers as well. So this photographer Frank Hayes, he was able to produce these stereoscopic photographs, which are viewed in a stereoscopic viewer, much like one of those viewfinders that we used to use when we were kids. And so it had two photographs side by side, which were almost identical. And he was from London. He photographed all these animals at the London Zoo. So once they were viewed through this special viewer, the image appeared to be three-dimensional, and there was a very high demand for these photos during this time period. So we'll look at a couple of his. This is South African cheetah. As you can see, the photos are almost identical, not quite identical, but they're very similar, and you could see how the image could pan out if you were looking at it through that viewfinder. Here's a photo of the tiger. And all these animals are in cages, but this was the first photographs that photographers were able to obtain of these wild animals before the rising of safaris and all that. So jumping ahead, we're going to go to talk about some animal motion photography. So Edward J. Muybridge, which was not his born name, he acquired that name, which is kind of a variation on Edward, and I don't remember what his last name was. But he was well known in the mid-19th century for his pioneering work in photography. He was also well noted for his notes in animal motion photography, the most notable of which is this study on the horse's gallop. So he worked with Leland Stanford, who was he owned a racetrack, and he actually, I assume, was the university founder, Stanford University. They wanted to determine if there was a moment the horse had all of the four hooves off of the ground during a trot, because when trotting horses were drawn in pictures, they were shown to have at least one foot on the ground in all times. So he worked on, and after some trial and error, perfected this technique using multiple cameras all lined up, and he activated the shutter at the same time so that he could capture the motion of the animal. So these are his prints. The horse in motion, as you see, by Muybridge. Sally Gardner was the horse's name, owned by Leland Stanford, running in 19th June 1878. So they were at intervals of 27 inches of distance, 25th of a second, and it's just to show the different positions of the horse while galloping. So here's this. I thought it was interesting. It's a GIF of these images lined up side by side, which shows the animation of the animal running and shows that iconic moment where the animal was suspended in midair with all 4 feet off of the ground. And the 12th shot, as you can see, it was the horse standing still, was not used in this animation. So now we're going to go on to some more interesting things. So modern animal photography, and there's a typo there. Exploration of photographic artists of today. So Seth Castile, water dogs. I love this exploration in the canines jumping into the water. It's so interesting, and it makes for some really, really cool images. So it's my personal favorite. He explores unique angles of these beloved animals, showing in a way it's expressive and beautiful. These photos actually, he purchased this underwater camera when he was in a pretty dire financial state. But once he took these pictures, they went viral online because they're beautiful, unique, and they're very, very funny. So you see this dog going after the ball, his mouth wide open, all the water in his lips. I love the bubbles going around his head. This one kind of looks like my dog's brindle. And jumping into the water, him taking these underwater photographs. And here's actually a picture of him underwater with the dog jumping in front of him, how he managed to get these awesome shots. And here's another dog. He looks pretty sassy. He looks like not too happy about being submerged in the water. And he's just noticing the cameraman underneath the water there. I love the bubbles surrounding him and the blueness of the water behind him. Now these two dogs look like they're grappling for the ball, their eyes wide open, excitedly reaching for the ball. And you can see these photographs are extremely unique. I don't think that anything of the like with such high quality and well done lighting was done up until this time. This was around 2008. He started the series. Here's another one. You can see I got a really good view of this dog's teeth here. And it's amazing how these fluffy, adorable pets can turn into these underwater sea monsters. Here's the two dogs from before who were going for the ball at the same time. Now they're fighting over the ball, and it's so beautiful. I love the composition of this photo as well. It's very, very well done. And there's looks like he took this with a fisheye lens. Dog in a nice tropical environment, going after the ball as well. I love the way that the ripples look on the dog's coat, the ripples of the light reflecting in the water. And then here's a boxer. I figured I would put one on here that has his mouth closed because there are many different expressions these dogs have going underwater. And desperately trying to swim, but again, and the reflection of the dog on the top. These photos are extremely well done. Okay, so Carly Davidson Shake. So keeping with our theme of this high quality, high shutter speed. So imagine when these dogs are getting out of the water, you can show them shaking the water off. So the lighting in these photographs is especially well executed, and especially with the ones with the black backgrounds, you can see all of the hair and the water flying off of the dog, and it's very grungy and it's very, very beautiful. These are also pretty funny pictures. So this is just on a plain background in black and white. And I love the way that this dog's hair goes in almost a swirl pattern. And I love the way his eyes look. Now this is that black background I was talking to. You can see the water droplets going all around him, almost kind of Jackson Pollock type of background there. And the dog's lips all hanging out to the side as he's mid-shake. Extremely, extremely high shutter speed. Excellent lighting on these animals as well. It looks like he's lit from all around. He's very well lit. This a Chinese crested. I love this picture because I love the way that the hair flows. The composition of the piece is gorgeous, and the dog has such little hair, but what hair he does have, he's shaking. So more serious animal photography. So they might be funny, they might be adorable, but they also can be very serious and very humanistic and very characteristic. And I enjoy the way that this guy Tim Flatch humanizes the animals. So he manages to capture these exotic domestic animals in these vulnerable, powerful shots, and each of these shots tells a story, some of them more than others. And so this is a naked chicken, a hairless chicken, dancing. He looks like a ballerina in this photo. He's on point on his toe. I assume he's running. This is a beautiful picture, very well lit, and very difficult to capture. This photo of the bat, I love. He has several pictures in this gallery of these photos of the bat's wings, and this one is my favorite out of the few that he has there. It shows every vein in the wings and the structure of them, and the hunched shoulders of the animal, making it seem like a human has its back turned, but then you have this almost alien wingspan here. Now this one, this is a beautiful, beautiful photograph of a monkey. You can see the way that he executed the lighting and the shadows, and this picture tells a story. The picture is full of character, and it makes this animal look almost human, like he has his thumb in his mouth and he's pondering something. You could talk all day about these photos. And this one of the hands, it almost looks like human hands holding each other. These are two chimpanzees, or I'm not sure exactly what kind of monkeys they are. Um, Two monkeys holding hands, and it looks like it could almost be a human hand. I love these close-up photos and using the negative space of the black background to highlight this image, and to see every wrinkle on the hand. It looks like an old man's hand. Here's another picture of a monkey's. This looks like an orangutan's hand. It looks so human. If you were a palm reader, I'm sure you'd love looking at this picture to see the whatever you see in this guy's palms. But I love how human it looks. That's why probably this series is titled More Than Human. And then we have this little monkey. And this is adorable. He's just trotting, like he's going to the market or something. Like he's very, very human, walking on his hind legs, and striding so smoothly. The photograph is so well done, but it tells such a story. And I love this picture of the betta fish. This is one of my favorite colors of betta fish, and I love the way that it is. It's composed with the image in the middle, the way the fish is curled around. He almost has his back turned on us, and the beauty of his fins floating in the water that way. Now, this panda I thought was really interesting. It looks like he's posing for a school picture. He's got his hand up, and he looks very serious, very elegant. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. These are the sources for my images, and thank you very much. Okay, so here is